People who don't drink any form of caffeine, how do you do it? L. Well, I'm mostly fueled by my hatred for others. At a young age, I decided to avoid coffee. Noticed that people who drank it did so almost as an addiction and required it as a daily ritual. Also, I figured my own body's energy was plenty to remain awake and alert so long as I get proper sleep. I've remained coffee-free all this time. Can't miss what you never really had. If you don't have a caffeine addiction, it's not very difficult to keep clear of caffeine. It's a bit like asking people who don't drink any milk, how do you do it? By not liking milk, I suppose. It's pretty easy to resist when you're not addicted. Cocaine. By drinking only water. Drinking caffeine regularly does not help your level of wakefulness. If, for example, you drink a cup daily, your brain adapts to this, and you now need your daily cup to reach a normal level of alertness. So those who don't drink caffeine are no less awake alert than you. In fact, they are more stable. If you do a caffeine cleanse, you will find yourself waking up less tired and more focused and sharp through the day. I've done it a few times, but long nights with the kids keep dragging me back, lol. If there is something with caffeine in it, they don't drink it. Hey, former caffeine dependent here. If you're dependent, caffeine just gets you back to your baseline. If you aren't dependent, you are always at your baseline. And if you do need some, it perks you up, but creates dependence. The key to caffeine is to not drink it unless you need it and you aren't already dependent. The lion's share of society downing multiple cups of coffee a day are doing the same silly thing the heroin users are doing. The first dose felt great, now they need 'em to feel normal. Only through abstinence will either improve. Caffeine doesn't affect me, man. Shrugging, medium light skin tone. People who don't smoke cigarettes, how do you do it? Same kind of answer. I just don't. This isn't oxygen or water. You don't need caffeine. Stop for a few days or weeks and you'll probably feel better, physically and mentally. Sleeping on time and eating on time. It also helps that I don't have to drive. I'm really sensitive to caffeine. It makes me feel sick with a racing heart and elevated blood pressure. I was born with an atrial septal defect. I avoid caffeine because I'd rather not have a heart attack at 28. I dunno, I just do. What do people need so much caffeine for anyway? Caffeine makes me extremely nervous and jittery for hours. I wish I could drink a cup of coffee without feeling like curling into a ball for 4 hours. Frowning face. My heart rate is too high already, so caffeine just makes me anxious and jittery. ADHD baby. Never start and you won't need it. I take Adderall instead. I have a harder time going to sleep than waking up. By cursing my cardiologist. I don't want to build a tolerance, so one day when I really need it I can shotgun 8 Red Bulls and see God. It's easier not to drink caffeine because drinking tap water is free and I don't have to go to the store to feed bottomless addictions. Easy. Effortless. Tap water. The body gets used to what you give to it. I've never drank caffeine before. You can't miss what you have never experienced. It makes my stomach hurt and gives me reflux. I wish I could drink something for energy that didn't have any negative side effects. I wouldn't know. I drink it. But I have severe ADHD. So I use it to self-medicate. It has the opposite effect for me. It helps me reduce my brain from 40 trains of thought crashing into each other to 3-5 trains on parallel tracks. Best metaphor I can think of. Get lots of energy through drinking tons of water. I did this for about 10 years, then somehow got sucked back into coffee drinking. I actually had a more stable mood and a natural energy that I can't really explain. It was really nice, but I'd DK if I have the willpower to quit caffeine again. I had to wean myself slowly into it. It took about a year to go from 5 cups a day to nothing. I've never really had it, so my body doesn't know what it's missing. Big glass of water in the morning helps. I do it by not liking the taste of tea or coffee. And I've not tried energy drinks. I don't avoid caffeine, but I felt the need to note caffeine doesn't affect me, and it's known to not be useful for people with ads, so that's one way. Just a quick snooter before you walk out the door. Before you get out of the car. After your first work break. During lunch. One before the ride home. One as a welcome home, and then the final post-dinner finale. I have anxiety issues as is, and it acts like steroids for my anxiety. I hate coffee, but if I have one energy drink, I'll feel great the first couple hours. But that evening the amplified anxiety will sit in, to the point some dark thoughts will creep into my head. Because of this I have cut it out completely. Just not worth to enter a depressive episode just to get some energy earlier in the day. If I'm tired I just deal with it, because it's better than dealing with the consequences I know are to come later with caffeine. Simple. I'm addicted to weed instead. Adderall. Developed acid reflux. Can still drink stuff with low amounts of caffeine, tea, soda. But coffee and energy drinks are out. Then, after it was out of my system, I was no longer addicted. I choose my drink by taste now. Heartburn deters me from caffeine. I used to drink a ton of caffeine daily. I needed it to survive. Then I quit. After about 2 awful months, I realized that caffeine does nothing positive for me. When you drink caffeine, it makes you feel the same that a non-caffeinated person feels all the time. The caffeine doesn't wake you up anymore. It just makes you more tired later. If you quit, you're going to hate life for about 2 months. You're going to be cripplingly tired all the time. It'll be awful. But it takes time to train your body to no longer be dependent on it. IDK. But it's 7:18 a.m. and I'm guzzling down my coffee. Turning on the news. Whoa. Everything's blurry upon waking. Joy to the world. Caffeine gives me a headache and makes me nauseated. I usually just get enough sleep like I'm supposed to. My body is hypersensitive to it, and I crash hard. Once you stop drinking caffeine, your body works how it's supposed to. It'll take some time though. You have to find the energy within. Largely because all caffeine does to me is make me tingly for 15 minutes, then I feel like I got hit by a train after. I used to drink so much coffee I think I gave myself a sensitivity. Now I can clammy and queasy and just generally feel awful whenever I have a high dose of caffeine. I read an article one time that said a hot caffeine-free beverage will wake you up just as well as a hot caffeinated beverage. No idea if there's any merit there. But I switched to herbal tea in the morning and afternoon and I do just fine. I also sleep 1000 better caffeine-free compared to when I was chugging a pot of coffee every day. Meth. Much less expansive than that cup a day you were buying, and it gets you more bang for the buck. Step 1 is don't drink any. That's it.